Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kara if you are new here, and I make content that inspires you and gives you the know-how and confidence to work well, live well, and travel well. So if that interests you, if you are just curious about what I have going on this corner of the internet and you want to support me, you can do so by liking this video, subscribing to my channel, and then turning on the bell so that way you're notified anytime a new video goes live. All right, so now that that is out of the way, I can officially say Happy New Year's. It is officially 2026, which is crazy. I feel like 2025 flew by. She clearly had somewhere to be, but I won't be mad at it. I think overall 2025 was a mixed bag. There were lots of great things, lots of highs, and there were also lots of low moments and hard moments, and I am so grateful for it all. I'm grateful to still be here. I'm grateful for God's grace, and I'm also really excited for 2026 and all that I know God is going to do. And I'm really excited to be back on this platform and to really step it up a notch. I feel like that is everyone's goal in 2026, and honestly, I'm rooting for all of us. I'm rooting for all of us to find our pace this year and to show up consistently in the spaces and the places that we want to. And for me, one of those places is YouTube. I have had my channel for a little over, it's going on 5 years now. 2026 will be 5 years that I've had this channel, and the growth has been steady, but even more so from like just the vanity metrics, like the numbers and the community members that I have. I've also learned a lot about myself, the kind of creator that I have been, the kind of creator that I want to grow and evolve to be. And so this year is really going to be me pushing myself to do just that. So I figured, what better way to start that off than with doing my own little State of the Union. I was inspired by seeing some other creators do this, and so I figured I would do a little bit of my own. I am calling this a Thrive Report, and I'm going to try to do this quarterly. It's a great way to just sit down and make sure that I'm bringing my community along on my own personal journey and my growth and my evolution. So we're starting now. So in today's video, we're going to be recapping 2025. I'm also going to be sharing some of my ins and outs for 2026. And then we are going to wrap the video by me just kind of sharing what you can expect from me and from this channel going forward. So without further ado, let's hop into the 2025 recap. So I figured I'd start with recapping 2025 because I think this is a step that a lot of us tend to like skip or just breeze through. And I really want to encourage you, if you have not yet reflected on your 2025, you are not too late, you are not behind. Now is as good of a time as any, whenever you are watching this video, to really stop and think about everything that has happened. Again, the good, the bad, and everything in between. So that way you can really understand what's going on and where you are, which will make it easier to then map a plan forward to where you want to be. So something that I really adopted last year was doing a monthly report, and I was able to do one pretty much every single month. I think I missed a couple, but pretty much every single month I stopped and reflected using the TikTok trend of the monthly report, which stands for reading, eating, playing, obsessing, recommending, and the last T I have seen used interchangeably between treating and traveling, and I also use them interchangeably throughout the year, just depending on what that month called for. I primarily shared these report recaps over on my LinkedIn, which, shameless plug, you can follow me over on LinkedIn and you can see all of the past monthly reports that I created. But I figured I would use this video as an opportunity to share just my overall monthly report for 2025, following the exact same format. So we're gonna start with the R, which is a reading. So although I actually did not read as many books as I set out to read at the beginning of 2025, 2025 did show me how much I really actually do enjoy reading. I read mostly for pleasure last year, which there is nothing wrong with that. I think think that is something that I learned, is that I need to add in more variety, books that feel good, that don't always have to like be teaching you something. So in December, I was on a really big Christmas romance novel kick by Black authors. I ended up reading 5 different ones. I will pop them up here on the screen if you're interested. I loved every single book for different reasons, but I just loved seeing my people represented in like loving stories, like beautiful, festive, romantic stories. Like give me more. So I'm definitely going to continue my romance theme, which was my theme for all 2025, like not just during Christmas. I was also on a very big Kennedy Ryan kick. I finished off her Hoop series, and I also finished the Skyland series. So I definitely again plan to stay in my romance bag while also adding in some different genres that I don't primarily read. And then of course there are some like self-help books that I have on my list that I want to read for 2026, but again, just trying to find that good balance between reading for fun and reading for learning. The last thing that I will say about reading is that it is fully my intention to be a Kindle girly in 2026. One of my best friends from high school, Rakaya, gifted me a Kindle for Christmas, and it was a complete surprise. She literally texted me like, hey girl, like check your mail, I sent you a package from Amazon. It's a Kindle, I hope you enjoy it. I'm like, girl, what did I do? Like, why did you send this to me? And I'm so grateful. So I definitely will be taking that thing with me everywhere, planes, trains, and in the car. Okay, so stay tuned on my Kindle reading adventures for 2026. Okay, moving on to the E for eating. And also, if you see me like glancing, my notes are right here on my computer, so I'm just making sure that I'm staying on task and on track, so that way this video is not like 3 hours long. So for eating, the only thing that I'll really say about this area of my life is I want to be more intentional about it. I wouldn't say that I ate like terrible in 2025 overall, but did I consistently eat in a way that was working for the habits and the health goals that I set for myself? No. And so that's really what I want to focus on going into 2026, is really embracing kind of like the 80-20 lifestyle of primarily eating whole foods, lots of greens, lots of protein, lots of fiber, and then really limiting my processed sugar intake, my dairy intake, my gluten intake overall. Just trying to find ways to be more mindful about how I'm nourishing my bodies. So that's eating, right? Short, sweet, and to the point, right? I had some great meals in 2025, but I really want to be more disciplined around eating in 2026. Okay, so moving on to the P, which is playing, i.e. the things that I was watching and listening to in 2025. All across the board, okay? All across the board, from a really great Netflix series, Forever, to Beauty in Black, to obviously like different reality shows throughout the year. Like right now, I'm really big on my Bravo reality shows, right? Real Housewives of Potomac, Married to Medicine. In the summer, you know, it's like Love Island, Temptation Island was like earlier this year. Also some really great movies, from Sinners to Wicked. I recently saw Zootopia 2, which also was like a really cute movie. My local movie theater does a $6 movies on Tuesday, so I actually want Kayla and I to do a better job of like just getting out the house and going to see a movie for $6. Like, why not? Getting some popcorn, like, love that. So definitely plan to have more movie dates in 2026. And then in terms of like podcasts and things like that, I am a really big Sisters Who Kill podcast listener. I actually went to their show when they were in Chicago last January, which was such a good time, just seeing a live podcast show, which I had never seen before. Also love listening to stories about Black women. Obviously it's about women who are convicted of killing other people, but even still, right, I'm a big person, I'm a big proponent of representation in every single area, and so this does it for me in terms of like my crime junkie thing that I have going on. Love that podcast. I also really love She's So Lucky, which rebranded from Balanced Black Girl last year. And more than the podcast, I also really just love following Les, who's the podcast host, and seeing kind of her evolution from afar over the past few years. We used to work at the same company, and I was actually introduced to her from someone else, like a previous manager of hers that I just happened to like meet, and she was like, oh my god, like I think you would love her, and we've been connected like ever since. And so I just find her to be very inspirational. And so again, even I would follow She's So Lucky, and then I would also follow her as a person, as she is on her own personal journey as well. So those were like a few of the things that I was like watching and listening to in 2025. I of course had a lot of like rerun moments. Grey's Anatomy, I'm currently rewatching Power. Insecure gets played a couple of times throughout the year, but for the most part, like I really want to make sure that when I am watching movies or TV shows in general, that it's like new things, you know what I mean? Like I really want to stop binging all the time, and binging like old shows like Grey's Anatomy, for example. I don't need to be sitting on the couch every single weekend watching the same episodes over and over and over. Like there are so many other things that I can be doing with my time. And that's not to say that there can't be some weekends where that happens, but there are other things that I could be using for my time, like reading more books or watching other shows that maybe I haven't seen before that like expands my knowledge or my exposure or something different. Like for example, lately I've been really into watching different YouTube shows and documentaries about different ways of living around the world. There's a series called The Most Difficult Ways to Get to School. So interesting, something that we in America take for granted, of just having reliable transportation for the most part. Obviously it's not the same everywhere, accessibility varies depending on where you live, but I think for the most part it is accessible. And then just seeing how people in other countries are getting to school, something that should be so simple, is like wow. So yeah, I won't belabor this point anymore. Just know that I will continue to like have some good watches and things like that. I'm trying to find the best place for me to share like my thoughts, particularly when I'm watching my reality shows. I definitely don't want to be known as like a yapper, but I always have thoughts about the things that are going on. So I don't know how I'm gonna do that. I don't know if I want to turn my threads into like my outlet for sharing my opinions in a very lighthearted way. We'll see. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so moving on to the O, obsessing. We're gonna keep this one really short and sweet. A couple of things that I was obsessed with in 2025, starting off with ClassPass. I've actually been on ClassPass for probably like 2 years now, but 2025 was the year that like I really felt myself relying on it. I felt like it was the one thing that kept me somewhat consistent in the gym when I wasn't feeling like going to an actual gym. Just signing up for a class, not having to think about the workout, being able to be in community, pushing myself, pushing my body. And so I will definitely continue to use ClassPass. I actually just upgraded my membership so that I could have more credits to use every single month. I also want to explore their other offerings because ClassPass does have a lot of fitness, wellness things like fitness classes, saunas, massages. You can get your nails done, facials. They've also recently added like co-working spaces and things like that. So I want to take advantage of the different ClassPass offerings in 2026 outside of just fitness, but I will continue to utilize ClassPass for fitness 100%. In the same vein, another thing that I was really obsessed with in 2025 was running. I still would not really consider myself a runner, which I don't know, maybe I should be, but I really was in like my running era this last year for some reason. My sister and I did 3 5Ks by the end of the year, which was not the goal. Like we did not set out to run 3 5Ks. It just kind of happened. We always run a 5K for Thanksgiving. We've been doing that for like the past 5 or 6 years. And then we just happened happened to see like other 5Ks throughout the year, and they were like, why not? Let's just sign up and like do something different. And I actually want to continue that in 2026. I also was on, in the summer, I was doing the 100 miles of summer challenge, created by the creator Kayla Jeter, I believe her name is. She has a whole like program around it. I did not run all 100 miles. I think I ended around 70 something, but just the fact that I was consistently running throughout the summer months was really big for me. I was so proud of myself, and I don't know, maybe I'll run it back this next summer to really like push myself again. But yeah, I was really obsessed with running in 2025. And then last but not least, I was obsessed with iced chais. I don't know where that came from, but it just really elevated a notch in 2025, trying different iced chais from different local coffee shops, really becoming an iced chai snob. Like, I'm sorry, there are some terrible iced chais that I've had this year, and there are some really good ones. For example, there is this local coffee shop right by my job. I don't remember the name of it right now, but their chai is so good, and I have been adding a little pump of lavender. Please, it is so good. So iced chai obsession was in full effect in 2025. Okay, really quickly, we're gonna finish up these last two letters of the yearly report, starting with R, recommending. And I am recommending that everyone find a reflection practice that you can consistently do in 2026. It is so important that you are taking the time to slow down, check in with yourself, and figure out what's working well, what's not working, what do you need to continue, what do you need to change. So whether that is through doing your own monthly report like this, journaling, going to therapy, using voice notes, whatever the case may be for you, find a way for you to check in with yourself. Because again, you cannot get yourself to where you want to go if you don't first understand where you are at, and reflection is a tool to help you do just that. So for 2026, that is my challenge for you. Find a way to reflect consistently. And then last but not least, traveling. Okay, traveling will always be a way that I stay grounded and inspired in my own personal life. Of course, I had tons of trips throughout the year. I went back to one of my favorite cities, Mexico City, with my mom and my sister. We had like a little girls trip. Also was able to make different family celebrations in Texas. My mom turned 60 this year. It was also her 20th year of being a breast cancer survivor, so she had a party this summer to celebrate that, and I'm so glad that I was able to be there and celebrate her. My Aunt Linda retired, my Uncle Larry turned 70, so I was able to be at those celebrations. We had a family reunion on a cruise, which was really fun, so I was able to spend some time with my family that way. 2025 was my 10-year reunion from graduating from Spelman College, and so I went to Atlanta twice last year, which I'm not complaining about that at all. I went in May for my reunion, like class reunion activities, walking through the arch and, you know, all of those activities, and then I went in October for homecoming, which was a time. Okay, it was a time. Also went to Mexico for my birthday with my sister, and then ended the year going to Brazil, which I absolutely had a blast. I will link that vlog here in the cards if you are interested in checking out my Brazil trip. I was there for almost 2 weeks, and to be honest, I have been seeing the Rio propaganda for New Year's Eve, and I'm already plotting about whether that should be my trip for this year for New Year's Eve, because oh my god, I literally am like jealous. So yeah, had a great time in Brazil. Again, I'm linking that vlog in the cards, check that out. But traveling will always kind of be something that I consistently try to do. I'm very grateful to be in a position where I am able to make it such a big part of my life, and that is something that I want to continue to do, continue to prioritize, and continue to bring you all along when I'm able to do those things. So that is the end of my monthly report. That is kind of how 2025 went. Of course, I left out a lot, but you kind of get the gist, okay? 2025, I'm super grateful and I'm so excited for 2026. All right, so moving on to our ins and outs for the winter, and some of these honestly may be goals for the whole entire 2026, but for the sake of this video, we'll just call them winter ins and outs, and we're gonna start with the outs. So first things first is bad dopamine or just the cheap hits. So doom scrolling, binge watching TV, sugar, etc. Just things that may leave you feeling energized in the short term, but ultimately like result in a crash. I'm so done with that. I want to find good, healthy ways to get dopamine, because dopamine is not bad by any means, but there are better, healthier, more sustainable ways to get it versus those cheap hits. So that's going to be a really big focus for me this year. Another out is breaking promises to myself. I'm done with that. I often think about how at work I am an executor. If you ask me to do something, I'm gonna make sure it gets done. I make sure not to drop balls. Obviously, I'm human, so like I'm not saying that I'm perfect by any means, but when it comes to work, like I hardly ever break promises. If I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. I want to have that same discipline for myself. If I say that I'm going to do something, I want to follow through for myself. And so that is something that I am just done with in 2026, is telling myself I'm going to do something and then not doing it. Self-trust is extremely important. And so I want to work on building mine back up. The third thing is perfectionism, and this is a theme that shows up in both my personal and professional life. Feeling like things and conditions have to go exactly the way that you want them to go, or things need to be in order exactly the way that you plan them to be in order for you to share the thing or do the thing, and I'm just so done with that. Perfectionism can actually hold you back if you let it, and so I want to be better about sharing things even though they are works in progress, giving myself the grace to grow through trial and error, being okay with being a beginner and making mistakes, and knowing that everything that I put out is not going to be perfect, and that's okay. So this is something that I want to work on in both my personal and my professional life. The last out that I have is fast food, Uber Eats, DoorDash, Postmates, all those things. Baby, you gotta go. Okay, and this again is not to say that there's anything inherently wrong about doing these things, but for me, I've noticed that I don't make the healthiest choices when I am relying on Uber Eats or fast food. And then also, I want to be someone who, if I do want to eat out, which there's nothing wrong with that, my goal is not to not eat out. My goal is to stop with the fast food and Uber Eats. I want to go somewhere that I haven't been before, try a new local restaurant, a new cuisine, etc. I think that sometimes you feel like if I eat out, it has to be like this fine dining, sitting down, spending hundreds of dollars, and that's not the case. There are so many local restaurants that will have you in and out very quickly, and you're spending the same amount of money that you would spend at Taco Bell, okay? Because the last time I went there, I spent $32, and I said, oh no, this has to stop. $32 at Taco Bell is insane. So I'm done with the fast food, with the Uber Eats. If I'm going to eat out, I'm going to go somewhere, I'm going to sit down, and I'm going to have a nice meal, even if it's quick, okay? Or we're gonna eat in the house, okay? Because we always have food at the house. So those are some of my outs for winter, and now we're gonna pivot to some of my ins. So first things first, I really want to focus on improving my sleep hygiene, making sure that I'm getting good quality rest, 7 to 8 hours a night. I think your sleep sleep really impacts so many other areas of your life, and so I'm like, let me first get this one area together. So I'm also thinking about getting an Aura ring or a ring con to kind of help me monitor this area. So if you have one, let me know in the comments how you like it. Do you think it's worth it? I know the ring con doesn't require a subscription, the Aura ring does, so I'm currently just doing some research between the two to kind of figure out which one I would like, but definitely interested in investing in something to help me monitor my improvements in this area. The second in for this winter is life outside of the house, which I know this can seem a little counterproductive or counterintuitive because you're like, it's winter. Like, what do you mean life outside the house? This is the time to hibernate. No, baby, I really want to be outside, and not outside in like a I'm going to bars or clubs type of way, but outside in that I'm volunteering in the community, I'm going to church, I'm spending time with my friends. I really want to join a grad chapter for my sorority. I want to find different ways to create more connections in the community, and so that's only going to happen by me leaving my house. So that is one of my goals for winter, and honestly the whole entire year, is how can I find ways to create life and community and in real life experiences and connections outside of the house. Another in for me this winter is going to revolve around my skincare or my body care. I really want to reprioritize this area of my life. If you are new here, you may or may not know that this is actually how my platform and my content creator journey started. I started as a skincare blogger. I was really interested in really improving my hyperpigmentation. I feel like around 2020, it was the worst it had ever been. And so I was really like, okay, how can I make this better? And so I really went on this whole journey of finding the right products, the right ingredients. I was getting chemical peels and facials, and I was just really committed, and my skin looked like it. And so I want to kind of like get back to that, stop rushing through my skincare routine, my body care routine, and really take my time and, you know, enjoy it. This is a great way for me to pamper myself and to give myself that self-care every single day. And so that is kind of how I want to treat it in 2026, as a ritual, as a routine, as a way where I can slow down and give myself exactly what I need. So skincare is a really big in for me. All right, a couple of more ins for this winter. Number one would be daily movement. Even though it is winter and it is very, very, very tempting to be sedentary, summer bodies are made in the winter, and I have a goal of losing about 20 pounds over the next few months, and I know that movement will make that easier. I also know that that's really directly connected to my eating habits, which is why I said that's going to be a really big focus for me this next year. But even more so, I also want to focus on moving, so going to the gym and working out 4 to 5 times a week, continuing to utilize ClassPass, getting in my steps. I have a walking pad here in the apartment, and I can probably count how many times I pulled that thing out and walked on it last year. No more. Okay, I want to be getting over 10,000 steps a day, which is really easy to do in the summer and also on the days that I commute to the office, because I walk to the train and walk to work. But on the days that I work from home or on the weekends, that can be a little bit more challenging. So I'm really pushing myself to consistently walk 10,000 steps a day, even on the days that I don't go into the office. So daily movement is definitely a really big in for me this winter. And then last but not least, my last in for winter is going to be getting dressed every single day. No matter if I am staying in the house or I'm going to the office, I want to look put together. Now, This does not mean that I need to be like full beat every single day, but a cute matching set. I do want to like do something with my face, do something with my hair, make sure that I just really look presentable, because I do really believe that when you look good, you feel good and you show up better. And so I want to make sure that I am being consistent with that. I also think that it'll help me be more consistent with recording content because I'm already put together. So it doesn't take any extra time to pull out my phone and record a video. At the end of the day, all of these ends for me are all linked to the same goals of like how I want to show up, the kind of person that I want to be, and it's just a matter of me doing it. So getting dressed is a really big end for me, and finding my personal style as I'm now in my 30s is a big goal, and the only way that I can do that is by actually dressing and putting clothes on and trying things. And so yeah, getting dressed, that is in for me this winter. All right, so there you have it, my personal ins and outs for winter. And like I said, a lot of these are really foundational to how I want to show up for 2026. So I definitely don't expect them to go anywhere after winter. But I hope this inspired you to think about some of your ins and outs for winter / 2026. And let me know what those are in the comments so that we can kind of hold each other accountable this year. And with that, that concludes my winter Thrive report, my own little personal state of the union. I felt like it was so important to start the year off reflecting and sharing where I am personally, professionally, and everywhere in between. Before I wrap this video, I did just want to share what you can expect from me and this platform moving forward into this year. I want to be more intentional, more consistent with how I show up on this platform. And so what that means is you can expect more honest career conversations, more work and travel content, more everyday routines and habits that are sustaining me, as well as more behind the scenes of building Kareer Noire, my business. Kareer Noire is dedicated to helping professionals build thriving careers and lives through coaching, digital products, experiences, and community. And so this channel, I really want it to be an extension of that. So if you're interested in following my creatorpreneur journey, or just interested in more content around careers and lifestyle design, make sure that you're subscribed to my channel. We have some really great things planned for this year. I really want to challenge myself and push myself in this space. And so I would love for you to be in my community and to join me on this journey. So with that, I'm going to wrap today's video here. If you made it all the way through, thank you so much. You are so real. I appreciate you being here with me. I love you, and 2026 is going to be a good one. Okay, mark my words, it's going to be the best year yet. I believe that for you and for me, and I hope to see you in my next video.